Hey, Dory here for Gamereactor at Gamescom 2016, and we're going to be talking about Dishonored 2 in this interview here with Harvey Smith. Now, we've had several interviews on the game, most recently at QuakeCon, so I'm going to try to focus this on a specific subject. Before we do that, though, let's retouch upon what the story of Dishonored 2 is.
Yeah, so Dishonored 2, you play either Emily Kaldwin or Corvo Attano, the hero from the first game. It's 15 years after the Rat Plague, and there is a coup that happens in Dunwall. And Emily's on the run, has to go to the southern part of her empire to undermine the people that are behind the coup and take her throne back. And the same is true for Corvo if you play Corvo.
Now, Dishonored is all about the powers and how you use it in your playstyle, be that stealth or going loud and just killing everything. So I want to talk about the powers, specifically new ones and rebalanced ones and stuff like that, and the difference between the two characters. So let's start off with some of the new powers.
Yeah, so as you state, Dishonored is a game about an assassin where you don't have to kill anyone. It's a bit of an oddball. There's stealth, there's combat, but the supernatural powers are really key. Corvo, all of his powers from the first game are back, so you have Devouring Swarm, Bend Time, Blink, Possession, all of that stuff. The difference is this time we've added detailed trees under each of his powers. So, to give you an example, in the first game, Devouring Swarm allowed you to summon a swarm of rats that either would devour a body and get rid of it, or they would kill a guard or something. And you could upgrade it once in a minor way to make it work faster. The rats were more aggressive. For Dishonored 2, we decided to give all the powers trees, so there are many different ways, generally 3 to 5, sometimes 6 ways to upgrade the power. With Devouring Swarm, you can be the guy that summons 2 swarms, or you can have larger swarms, or a swarm that follows you. And you can take all of those, so you have 2 swarms that are larger that are following you around. And then on top of that, you can combine the powers, so you can take Possession and Devouring Swarm. So not only can you use Devouring Swarm to get rid of bodies or use it offensively, even defensively if they're following you around, but you can also summon as a rat swarm and then possess one of them, and then use the rat to sneak by some people or go through a little rat tunnel. So that's all of Corvo's powers are back, and they all have trees now, where you can upgrade them in different interesting ways.
Yeah, and in this game you are playing as a second character as well. You get to play as Emily, and she has a whole different set of powers, right?
Yeah, I would actually argue that Emily is the first character because the way we conceived Dishonored 1 around Corvo, we really conceived Dishonored 2 around Emily. We of course love Corvo and his powers as well. And it's really great to have him back. You feel nostalgic for Corvo, and he's voiced now by Stephen Russell, who played Garrett in the original Thief. And he brings this world-weary, man who's seen too much kind of quality to Corvo. So it's a very powerful experience to play Corvo. But that said, we led with Emily, and Emily is the exciting new character. It's really cool to see her grown up, the 10-year-old girl from the first game. She's 25 now. She's the ruler of the Empire of the Isles, and she has her own supernatural powers. So you might have seen in the demo material that we've released, the gameplay videos and stuff, but Emily, her powers are maybe more befitting of an empress who also had a moment of darkness in her life. She's got Mesmerize, where she can crowd control, you know, like take a group of people and like they stare at this void entity and then forget that she was there. And she can either sneak past them or kill them while they're mesmerized. She has Domino, which links their fate. If whatever you do to one of them, the others who are linked also suffer the same fate. She has Shadow Walk, she has Far Reach, which is similar to Blink but different. It's more like a slingshot grappling hook kind of power. Both characters can now craft bone charms as well, so there's something like 400,000 combinations of bone charms. We haven't even looked at all the combinations, it's a procedural thing. So all of Emily's powers are new, and they can be upgraded with trees under them the same way that Corvo's powers can. And the two characters share enhancements, the passive powers we have. And we've added to the enhancements as well, including bone charm crafting.
Yeah. Now at E3 you showed off a lot of this stuff. One thing that particularly caught my eye was where you were jumping in and out of time. From the past and the present. But I didn't quite get, is that an ability or an item that you picked up?
One of the things we did was we tried to revisit all the things we loved about Dishonored 1 and make them bigger and better. So one of our core values is level design. We work with Christophe Carrier and Joachim David, our level design director and lead level designer, and they are part of our secret sauce. And so this time we wanted to make the levels a little bigger. They're all about 20% larger. They have like an urban area attached to them generally, so there's side areas and streets to explore. But then on top of that, each mission has some major theme attached to it, either through fiction or mechanics. So you've seen the Dust District, where random storms kick up and they obscure visibility and help you with stealth. There are also 2 assassination targets in that mission in particular. You've seen the Clockwork Mansion, where you can throw levers that reconfigure the walls, floor, and ceilings of the house like a Rubik's Cube. So you can trap off enemies in another part of the house, or you can open up passages that weren't accessible before. You play with the house as an object itself. It's very cool. The thing you're talking about is in a mission called A Crack in the Slab, where time itself is broken, and when you get there, the outsider tells you your powers won't work here. Your supernatural powers like Blink and Possession, Domino, Far Reach, they don't work there. And instead he gives you this thing called the timepiece, and it allows you to look through time into 2 different periods and also move back and forth. So we have the house 3 years ago, before the game started, in the past, which is cool because you get a little snapshot of the state of the Empire 3 years ago as it was running. But the guards are on patrol, there's music playing, there's candles burning, there's food on the tables, everything is very functional. But in the present, the house is ruined, pipes are broken, a room is flooded, rats are everywhere, the wallpaper is peeling, the furniture has been robbed or destroyed. Anyway, you can constantly look between the past and the present, and then you can transition as well with using the timepiece. So there are semi-scripted examples, like maybe there's a second floor walkway that has collapsed in the present, and you go up the stairs and you need to get across it. In the past, you look through and there's a guard walking up and down the area, so you have to like manipulate time in order to find the path and avoid the guard at the same time. That's an example. Or there may be a puzzle where like there's a balcony with some supports in the past and a note that says, hey, we need to get somebody in here to fix this. And if you break the supports, then you go into the present. 3 years later, the balcony has collapsed, revealing another pathway. Those are examples of like semi-scripted, prepared ways you can manipulate time. But in a more general sense, you can just look through it, see where the guards are, see which way they're facing, move behind them, transition time periods. You're materializing behind them from the future. And then you can choke them out or sneak past them or whatever. So it's
snatch them out and then bring them into the past, hide them there.
We don't let you transition characters from the past and the future. But in any case, it's dedicated to this one mission, that mechanic. The mission is built around it. And all of the missions, like I said, have some major theme like that, either mechanically or fictionally.
Okay, very interesting. Now, one thing that also made Dishonored live an even longer life was on YouTube. You see these speedrunners, specifically, I think he was called Stealth Gamer BR, I think. I believe you brought some of these guys in for like beta testing to try out the new powers. What did that bring?
Yeah, so Stealth Gamer BR is brilliant, and the videos that he makes are amazing. Also, Volhound from Scotland does the same thing, and those are crazy cool videos. They do things that we didn't even anticipate, really. So we brought one of them in, Volhound, to play the game, give us feedback on the controls, give us feedback on the mechanics, how does it feel, and then we recorded him playing as well. You know, and we might bring him back at some point, or Stealth Gamer BR, and we might work with him as well. I don't know. We love both of those guys. We love any of those people that put together videos, either the ones deeply exploring the lore and talking about all the little secrets they've found, or the ones just showing off the mechanics and this sort of ballet of destruction. Those guys are awesome, and it's great to have a community. We have cosplayers, we have artists, we have writers, we have craftsmen who make things like bone charms and Emily's ring. You know, Corvo's sword. We got a functional copy of Corvo's sword that actually unfolds. We have it in the office in the lobby. But also the people certainly doing content. Riptide POW did a full playthrough when the game came out, and the whole team was gathered around the monitor watching him finish the game. I mean, it's a cool age to be a game developer.
Now, having finished Dishonored myself 3 times, I'm kind of looking at my my schedule and my calendar with fright, because am I going to have to finish it 4 times now in order to complete it in all ways? Twice with each character, lethal, non-lethal?
I really always say the same thing, which is like, I don't think people even understand one of our games until they finished it twice. And it's a blessing and a curse, right? Because it means when you play the game, you only see like 20% of the content or something. Because if you play Corvo, you can't see all the Emily stuff. Emily has her own assassination animations, her own combat animations. It feels different to inhabit her bodily than it does Corvo. He has his own powers. She has her own powers. Even if you, there's the violent approach and the non-violent approach, the non-lethal approach, but then there's one path, a second path, a third path, a fourth path. If you take the over the rooftop path, you can't go down the back alley, or you can't possess a fish and swim along the river. If you use possession and blink, you upgrade those. You probably, even as Corvo, don't have enough runes to upgrade some other powers of his, right? So it's really, you're seeing what your choices are like. They're facilitating a particular playthrough, and there are many, you sense that there are many other decisions you could have made, both spatially in how you move through the world, and stylistically in how you approach each combat scenario, or whether you slip by without fighting, but also in choice of character and choice of powers. It's pretty dramatic.
Okay, and when will actually players be getting their hands on the game, and on what platforms?
Well, Dishonored 2 ships on November 11th this year, 2016, on the PS4, the Xbox One, and the PC.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
The years are long, but it's always good to see a familiar face.